Hello and good evening. This is Harlem Network News, and I am Terri Wisdom, the host for Harlem Network News. And I just wanted to share with you that Harlem Network News is a new media platform. We started at the onset of COVID, and Harlem Network News has been very important to the community. We are the voice and the drumbeat of Harlem. The reason we knew it was so important is that at the onset of COVID, there were many people that were running around and saying, Black people can't get it. And that's when, my background is in media and television, but that's when I knew it was extremely important to step in and really assure that our communities were informed, because 2 weeks later, there were body bags in Harlem. Also, I know how critical and how important what we're doing is, because our very own Mayor Adams had to really speak about the coverage that the media was giving him. So Harlem Network News is here and here to stay. Today is a very, very important day. We have here with us Dawn Jones, and Dawn is on the board of the National Action Network. She also attended the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus in Albany today. So I would just like everyone to say hello to Dawn. And Dawn, if you could just share a little bit about your background and what your relationship is to National Action Network. And of course, let us know, what is National Action Network? Knowledge is power, and we don't want to make assumptions that, everybody knows. So thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us. Thank you.
Greetings, Harlem Neighborhood Network, and thank you for having me on this Saturday evening. I am a board member of the National Action Network, a national board member since approximately 2003. After the Alberta Spruill case, I was asked to join the board. The National Action Network is a civil rights organization founded by the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton back in approximately 1991, after the Yusuf Hawkins case in Brooklyn.
Okay, so thank you very much. So you've been with National Action Network from that time. And can you give a little bit of background in terms of what National Action Network is? I know it's nationwide. Tell us a little bit about Reverend Al Sharpton. We know that he is well known around the world, really. So if you could just share just a little bit about what National Action Network National Action Network does. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
so
I
much.
actually, I'm on the board since 2003. I joined National Action Network in 1999 after the Amadou Diallo case, the African immigrant that was shot 41 times in the Soundview section of the Bronx. And I became a lifetime member in 2000. And then I joined the board in 2003 after Alberta Spruill case. But the National Action Network is a civil rights organization that fights injustices such as police brutality, gun violence. Unfortunately, as soon as I got back home from Albany, there was a shooting on James E. Davis and Eastern Parkway. There was a young 16-year-old shot in the Melrose section of the Bronx where I used to work. So we're fighting on all fronts, the National Action Network. And basically, we just finished our convention where we just convene all the organizations that get together. One of my good friends I just hung out with, Chrissy Peoples, was there from the very beginning when he only had one office. And he's in about maybe 40 states now, and we all convened at a convention at the Sheraton Times Square Hotel this weekend. Oh, I apologize. I lost sound. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. I apologize as well.
Yeah.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and also Clubhouse, soon to be on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And you can also join us at harlemnetworknews.com. So we're here with Dawn Jones of National Action Network, and she was just sharing with us a little bit about the convention, the annual convention. And I'm not sure how many years it's been going on, but it's been going on for a while, right here in New York City at the Sheraton Hotel. So please share, Dawn. Thank you.
Yes, it's an annual convention. We only missed 1 year because of the COVID-19. We actually kind of scaled down last year, kind of similar what the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus did today. But it's been an annual convention for about, I'm going to say approximately 24 years, but I certainly will go back and do my research to be sure.
Wow.
And it's been at the Sheraton Hotel, Times Square.
Okay.
And 1 year we met in Atlanta. It was the 40th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King. So we were actually at the location of where he was assassinated in, what's that, Memphis, Tennessee, at the Lorraine Hotel. And we were at a hotel there in Memphis, Tennessee 1 year. And what I can do is go back and research and see that exact year we were there. But since then, we've been at the Sheraton each and every year, and it's always around the assassination date, April 4th. And if it's not on the exact day, it's like the week of, or maybe 1 year we had to do it during the month of April, but it's always in April. And it coincides with the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that, because I know it happens in April, but sharing the significance of why the convention happens in April surrounding the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And certainly I have journeyed and visited that Lorraine Motel Museum of Dr. King, and it's a very empowering experience. I would encourage all to go and join. Absolutely. So Dawn, would you share with us a little bit about some of the highlights of the convention this year?
Okay, what I'm going to do, I actually have the journal here. So the best way for this year is the journal of the National Action Network 2022. It went from April 6th to the 9th, 2022. Today was the only day that I missed because I was up at the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus. That was the postponed Black and Puerto Rican Caucus. It's at the Sheraton, New York, Times Square Hotel.
Excellent.
And what I'm gonna start off with, let me see. The first day getting down was a little tough with the rain. I remember my late father saying when it rains to get up an hour early, but I made it there in time. And the very first thing was the welcome ribbon cutting with Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, founder and president, Reverend W. Franklin Richardson, chairman of the Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York, along with the National Board of Directors and the National Action Network leadership, cut the ribbon. The mayor, Eric Adams of the city of New York, the Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine, and others shared in that moment.
All right.
We had an opening address by the Honorable Eric L. Adams, 110th mayor of New York City, who also signed the incorporation papers for the National Action Network back in 1991. It was held in the New York ballroom on the 3rd floor of the Sheraton. There was a plenary address, and that was by Jamie Harrison, chair of the Democratic National Committee. I thought he just gave a powerful speech. That was my first time actually seeing him. Politics and voter suppression in the midterm. The moderator was our own Reverend Al Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network. The panelists were Melanie Campbell, president and CEO, National Coalition on Black Civil Participation, convener, Black Women's Roundtable, the Honorable Christina Greer, associate professor of political science, Fordham University, the Honorable Alicia Reese, Vice President, Hamilton County Commissioner, and board member, National Board of Directors of the National Action Network, and the Honorable Jemani Williams, Public Advocate, New York City. Okay, so
Okay.
that was a very
Quite a
informative
lineup.
panel. Then
Okay.
the next panel was on police reform. That was also held in the same New York ballroom on the 3rd floor. The moderator was attorney Benjamin Crump, that is Esquire, Benjamin Crump Law, PLLC. The panelists were Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner, Wanda Cooper Jones, mother of Aubrey, and unfortunately we got the sad news that the officers were acquitted at that exact panel, was the exact time.
Wow.
I don't know if the timing was on or off, but we got the sad news then, but she still participated and completed and stayed at the panel the whole time. Alicia Finley, sister of Botham Jean, President Botham Jean Foundation, Flanice Floyd, brother of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd, sister of George Floyd, co-founder George Floyd Foundation, Sabrina Fulton, mother of Trayvon Martin, Jakari Harris, executive director, George Floyd Memorial Foundation, Karen Williams, mother of Amir Locke, also the mother of Sean Bell, and others were there in the audience.
Now, that's a powerful panel. And Dawn,
yeah.
not to interrupt you, but I just wanted everybody to know we're here on Harlem Network News, and we're here with Dawn Jones, who is on the board of the National Action Network, and that is with Reverend Al Sharpton, and she's speaking about the convention. And there was a panel on police reform that had many of the mothers and relatives of, all of those who passed during our Black Lives Matter time and before. And before we actually get further, I just want to salute all of the ancestors that have gone before us, as there are many. And even as we hear about the police reform panel on November 5th of 2021, I also lost my son to gunshot violence. And I will say his name, Ali Wisdom. And, we are still working to solve that crime. And also we are holding up his legacy and have started a scholarship in his name at his alma mater, Howard University. So this issue of police reform is very, very near and dear to me. So Dawn, can you tell us pretty much what the outcome was and what the gist is of this police reform conference and what the position of the mothers and the families, because it's mothers and it's fathers. I certainly have joined an association that nobody wants to be a member of, but it's very vital. And I am a member of Harlem Mothers Save now, which includes mothers, fathers, family. And I salute Jackie Rowe Adams, who lost 2 sons to gun violence. So we have a lot to deal with in our community. But what was the outcome of the panel and some of the issues that were on the table? Thank you.
Yes, and I just want to say my deepest condolences to you and your family again. And Jackie Rowe Adams was in attendance at the dinner, and there was a forum, but it took place on today, and I was in Albany, that addressed gun violence, headed up by Erica Ford of Life Camp. Now, I also saw her van in Albany, so I'm not exactly sure was she in Albany or her folks, but there definitely was a time slot for her at the National Action Network convention on today. But the one on police reform, we did get the Eric Garner chokehold bill passed here in New York State, but what they're working on is the George Floyd bill nationwide. They're looking to get that bill. They're trying to get that bill pushed and passed in the United States Senate and the Congress. So basically the outcome of that panel was to make sure that George Floyd bill gets passed.
Okay, that's excellent.
and some discussion on no-knock search warrant. A case that is not always discussed at these type of forums is the Alberta Spruill case, how I joined the board, but they're also looking to get a bill passed with no-knock search warrants because it goes further than 203. And it's
Yes.
continuing to happen, and the cases
Yes,
now are more
absolutely.
highlighted. Yes.
Yeah, that's very powerful and very important. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News, and we encourage you to tune in and tell a friend to tell a friend. It takes a village. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and this interview that we're doing with Dawn Jones is pre-recorded, so you'll be tuning in this Sunday at 4 on both YouTube and Facebook. But the no knock is extremely, extremely, extremely important. And it's so interesting. I listen all the time to Gil Scott Heron radio. I had the honor of attending Lincoln University with Gil Scott Heron, where he started his band, and he was a classmate and a great friend. And listening to his music, he actually has a song called No Knock, and how many years ago was that?
Yes.
Almost 40 years ago. And it's called No Knock, or maybe a little more than 40 years. And this is addressing the issue of Fred Hampton, so it's been a long journey on this no knock, and it's just crazy that it's still happening.
Yes.
I would ask also, Dawn, in this conference, if there was any conversation about bail reform, because that's another biggie on the table. Was there any conversation regarding that?
I can tell you that took place today, and the panel was headed up by Victor Pate of our Second Chance Committee. So there are a lot of things that I missed by going to Albany, but I felt that, since coming out of COVID, I needed that balance. I needed to be at both. I mean, I didn't really know that the Black and Puerto Rican caucus was postponed. When they called me, I thought this was almost El Futuro because we're in the month of April. But when I found out that it was the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, I went on and took the bus up, and I kind of got a balance. But yes, it was addressed today, but I was not there. I was not in attendance.
Okay. So we will definitely follow up with that. And Dawn, would you share with us, I know that you're on the board, but what committee do you chair, and what is coming up that people should be aware of at National Action Network? I know you meet every Saturday. I know Reverend Sharpton is on the radio every Saturday morning, but would you just inform people, because here at Harlem Network News, we're about knowledge, and knowledge is power. So
thank you so much for asking. And yes, the Saturday Action Rally is each and every Saturday morning from 9:00 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's live on WLIB 1190 a.m. Also Impact Television. We have committee reports, and then Reverend Sharpton does his keynote address at 10:00 a.m. And sometimes he may change up for those who only come on at 10:00 to hear him. But normally the format is we have like introductions, announcements, and we highlight a particular committee. My committee was highlighted about 2 Saturdays ago. And then the committee I head is the National Action Network Political Action Committee. And as you know, April is Financial Literacy Month. So our National Action Network New York City Chapter Political Action Committee, we're asking you to join NANPAC monthly meetings at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. Our committee schedule is every 4th Saturday of the month, and we meet at 11:30 a.m. and we end by 1:00 p.m. That way we can have the House of Justice sanitized and ready for the week in the afternoons. And that's on Saturday, April 23rd, 2022 at 11:30 a.m. The purpose of our meeting is the briefing of our voter registration information table that we had at the NAN Convention 2022, and planning of our April is National Financial Literacy Month, 5th Saturday virtual voter education forum project series on the 3 ballot proposals for the New York City Charter on racial equity for the upcoming general election 2022. And can I vote with a criminal record in New York State? So that will be our next forum, which will be coming up on Saturday, April 30th, 2022 at 12:30 p.m. It will be from the comfort and safety of your own home. That'll be our 5th Saturday virtual voter education forum. We're going to go back in person in July. And our confirmed panelist is Eugene Campbell. He's CEO of ECC Group. He's a graduate of my alma mater, Virginia State University. And our list is actually, our panelist lists are still in formation. We ask you to join us live on Zoom. Our meeting ID is 474-122-4396. And our password is 1 capital Z 9 capital R capital W lowercase w. So for more information, you can contact NANPAC at 212-690-3070. So basically that's what our committee has coming up for the month of April. We meet each and every month, 4th Saturdays, and then we do 5th Saturday forums.
Okay, I love your efficiency, Dawn. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you. And this is Harlem Network News for those of you who have just joined. And I have Dawn Jones, who is a board member of NAN, National Action Network. And we are really sharing about the convention, which wrapped up today. Were there any other highlights? What was the message that Mayor Eric Adams had to share for the NAN convention this year?
Well, you know what, he basically shared about his relationship with the National Action Network and combating gun violence. Since we were on the heels of the shooting of the 16-year-old lady in, actually she's a young lady in the South Bronx, the Melrose section. I actually worked at the Melrose section for a couple of years, not too far from where that happened. And I don't think she had died yet at that convention. But he basically shared about gun violence and his relationship with National Action Network going back to when he signed the incorporation papers for NAN to get started. Also, that we had a panel on the role of public pensions plans in creating a secure retirement while creating community impact. It was moderated by Robert L. Green, President and CEO, National Association of Investment Companies, Tom DiNapoli, New York State Controller, Brad Lander, New York City Controller, Derek Jones, Managing Director, GCM Governor, Carrie M. Lee, Senior Advisor, Business Development Agency, Don Peoples, Chairman and CEO of Peoples Corporation, who actually owns a hotel in Miami. And I was on a NAN board retreat last month in Fort Lauderdale. So it was interesting to see a Black-owned hotel in Fort Lauderdale. And I know when I looked,
that sounds great. What's the name of his hotel? Do you have it?
You know what? I actually don't remember, but I do.
Okay, well, what's his name so we can remember?
His name is Don Peoples, and he's chairman and CEO of Peoples Corporation. And he would like to have Reverend Sharpton have his headquarters downtown by the Javits Center, which I think would be a wonderful idea because I don't want my view blocked here in Esplanade Gardens. The high-rise museum. If you want to do a museum, do a little flat, but don't block my view. I can see the whole view.
I got you. That's another
whole nother issue, can of worms.
Yeah, that's a whole nother Harlem conversation and story. Yes. And I'm glad that you raised that. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And one of the things that we are very concerned about in Harlem and all the Harlems of the world is really gentrification and the gravelicious developers that are coming into our community and often getting tax breaks, but they are making housing that is not affordable for anybody. And we raise our hand here at Harlem Network News for a call to action. We ask Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul or whoever has the authority to stop this really violence against the people. You know,
Mhm.
it's unacceptable. And even when they do have what's quote affordable housing, it is not affordable.
Right.
And you know, if they do have something affordable to members of the community, it might be 1 or 2 units or a very small percentage. And this is unacceptable. And I really believe that this crisis with the housing and the gentrification is actually because the problems that we're having with gun violence, homelessness, mental illness, it's systemic, but it
Yes.
starts with economics. So we must be clear on that. And another circumstance that we have in our community is some of the existing housing, like Esplanade Gardens,
Mhm.
which I know that's near and dear to you,
Yes.
you know, as you're a member, and it's a Mitchell Lama co-op, and there's been a
Mhm.
whole situation where there has been abuse going to everyone there, you know,
Mhm.
where, you know, there's repairs that are supposed to be done, they're being done improperly. Seniors are having a huge problem. There's several articles that have come out, and we will be writing another article in Harlem Network News, really to support the shareholders at Esplanade Gardens, because it's unconscionable.
Yes.
So we've got to look at these things. It's very, very important, and it's very, very critical. This
Yes.
is Harlem Network News, and we stand for the people.
Thank you.
Critical, critical,
Yes,
critical.
and we appreciate you coming over here and addressing the issue. I was the vice president when I resided in Lenox Terrace, but over here
Mhm.
I'm a shareholder, but I go to the meetings, but
Okay,
I haven't taken any position here. But like I stated earlier, I am okay with a museum, but I just am not an okay with a tower on the corner
right,
of First
yeah,
and
and
14th.
often what happens is the developers, in our general, and I'm a member of Community Board 10, but it's public
Yes.
information.
Mhm.
In our community board meeting, which was for the general public, there was a developer that came and was talking about developing a building, and because of economics and they can't afford this and that, you know, there were going to be no affordable housing in this unit. It
Right.
wasn't a lot of units, but there was going to be no affordable housing. And, you know, they spoke about they're going to do something for the community, which is like fix some tree beds, you
Mm.
know, and I just feel like that kind of thing is abusive and it's insulting. And, you know, it's reminiscent of like post-slave trauma, you know,
Man.
in terms of what we're dealing with. So
Yes.
we have to stand up. And a lot of this has to do with education, community involvement. And, you know, that's why Harlem Network News is here. And it's also where an organization such as NAN is here. And I'm with you. Even giving a civil rights museum or allowing NAN to stay where they are if they're going to build this building. And this is an op-ed comment by me,
Mhm.
but you know, most of the time when they build buildings, they have to have something in the building that is for the public, be it a
Right.
church or whatever it is. So, you know, that could be for NAN, but it's not a trade, it's not a carrot, because NAN, from my understanding, would not be getting this museum for free.
Right.
So it's not a trading post,
Mhm.
you know, where you knock out the whole community and you build some high tower that no one can live in. This is detrimental to the community. And we've got to speak truth to power on all of this. Very,
Amen.
very, very critical. So
Yes, and I
just
was
want
on
to throw that in.
Manhattan.
But Dawn, if you would
Mhm.
just wrap up, I know that there were Fat Joe was there,
Yes.
and I believe that was today. I'm not sure what his comments were. And I also know that one of the congressmen, Tom, and I'm not maybe not pronouncing it right, Sayupso, was
Yeah,
also,
that's Tom Swazi. But you know what? I
yes.
would have to double check with someone if he was there. Did I get up
Oh,
and
okay.
go out?
Hmm.
I actually missed him. His name is printed here, United States
Okay.
House of Representatives, New York 3. But I have to double check
Hmm.
with someone. I may have gone to the ladies' room.
Okay, gotcha. And what about Fat Joe?
Okay,
What were his
Fat
comments and his
Joe,
position?
award-winning recording artist, was definitely in the plenary session along with
All right.
former Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., who is now on the national board of the National Action Network. And one thing that I can remember him speaking to us about is New York City housing is temporary housing, that he was encouraging home ownership. Okay. That's the highlight of his speech. A gentleman, Wally Muhammad, known photographer in the community, he didn't realize that he was so community oriented, because I didn't expect him to speak about what he was speaking about. And I certainly appreciate you being on Manhattan Community Board 10. I was appointed by C. Virginia Fields, and we need your voice, because I heard you talking about keeping the structure of Harlem Hospital in different places, the facades that we have here in our community that make it such a historic landmark community. And I love to hear you say that. And I just hope that they just don't keep putting glass all over our beautiful mosaic of Harlem. So I thank you so much for being on the board and for your voice on the board.
Yeah, very, very, very critical. This is a war of its own kind, and it's a fight for culture, it's a fight for the people, and it's a fight for an end to disparities and inequities, which is very, very important. And obviously, that's a world issue. We're seeing it in Ukraine, and as we talk about justice, I did to the Supreme Court, who was nominated in the name of Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yes.
That was an amazing, amazing feat. And I want to say that we all played a part in assuring that she got that nomination. There's an organization called Win with Black Women, of which I'm a part, and Win with Black Women, led by Joe Taker Edie and other folks like Holly Holiday, really stood up and worked with the Black Women's Leadership Collective. And those organizations actually took out a full-page ad in the New York Times with thousands of signatures, and everybody kept writing op-eds. Harlem Network News was a part. We tweeted, did everything we could to support. We had a watch party, as they grilled her. And I do want to say that she was truly an example. She was a great example of when they come for you, how to stand firm. That's what I learned from it. And I'm grateful that, she has been nominated. But what I do say is, with her nomination, we have great expectations. And we have an expectation that she will provide justice, and justice for all, and particularly justice for all people of color, who have suffered all these inequities. So we applaud her nomination, we support her, and we're here to assist. If you want to say any comments on that, and then we're going to go and have you comment on your experience of the Black Caucus. So,
well, you know what it is, that afternoon, I had a voter registration information table and vending at the same time at the National Action Network convention in the resource.
Okay.
And the ladies to my left were from Detroit, and they were doing, they had a table on emergency preparedness, which, I've done that type of forum in the month of September for National Preparedness Month. They were clapping to my left. I didn't know until my friend called me at 2:20 p.m. and I called her back at 2:31 that is why they were clapping. I didn't ask them why they were clapping. It was two sisters next to me going like this. I didn't ask.
I hear you.
Well, when my church member called me at 2:31, I said, that's why y'all were clapping? And they said, yes. So I said, thank you so much for letting me know, so she's at the convention and she's letting me know that she's confirmed. So that's actually the way that I found out. And I just thought that was wonderful news. And our own Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton and Reverend Dr. Jesse Lewis Jackson, a senior, they both went
Okay.
down to her confirmation hearing
Oh,
on
beautiful.
Friday
I
morning.
love it.
They flew down,
I
they posted
love it.
themselves on Facebook.
I
And
love
what's
it. I love it.
ironic, during the time that she was being confirmed, Gudacek was speaking at the National Action Network convention, and there was a slew
Wow.
of Secret Service. I mean, it was, it could have been 100. I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating.
Okay.
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 And they were not allowing people to come up to the third floor. And I was saying, it's 10 o'clock. Where are the people? Why are they not coming in the resource room? Not knowing that people were stopped in the hallway and they had their items to bring in the resource room. They were not allowed to come in the back, and people were not able to come up to the third floor. It was the same time during her confirmation.
Okay.
So
Okay. So what was Budacek,
yeah.
what was his message?
Well, see, I have no clue. I would have to go
Okay,
ask
got it.
someone because I had to go get the program to find out why is the Secret Service.
Okay.
I told somebody I feel like I'm walking in Washington, D.C. right now because there was so
Okay.
many of them upstairs in the
I hear
hotel,
you.
and I didn't even know what they were there for until I got
Well,
downstairs.
I'm very grateful. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News, and I'm here with Dawn Jones of National Action Network, and we're just sharing where were we when Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was confirmed. And I will say that I got that message, through an email from Win Black Women. And then another sister friend called me. And then I was really honored because my granddaughter, who is a recent graduate of Howard University, she called me and she was smiling and yelling. So I really this is a great reality for us all, particularly when our young people are, on the front line. And she knew that I would be elated. So she wanted to be one of the first to call me. So kudos to you, my sister, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. And like I said, we have great expectations. We got your back, but you know how rough we are and how and what we stand for. And thank you. It was an honor to see our vice president, be able to be a part. Phenomenal women.
And,
so
and
if
just to wrap up on that day, April 7th, I'm sorry, April 6th, the first day, Wednesday, was the Keepers of the Dream. They had a general reception, and then they had the Keepers of Dream program. It was a ticketed event, invite only, in the Metropolitan Ballroom, hosted by the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, president and founder of the National Action Network. The honorees were Yolanda Adams, award-winning gospel artist, Brian Flores Sr., defensive assistant and linebacker coach, Pittsburgh Steelers, Camille Joseph Goldman, group vice president, governor affairs, charter communications, and board member of the National Action Network Board of Directors, Brian Stevenson, founder and executive director, Equal Justice Initiative, and Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, United States representative to the United Nations. And she's actually the person who addressed us. And she may have been the person in place of Tom Swazi. I'll double check.
Got it. Okay,
but
got
she
it.
did address us during the preliminary
Excellent. Yeah, she's really been on the front line, especially with everything going on in Ukraine, and on that note, thank you for sharing. This is Harlem Network News. And, I want to highlight the atrocities that are happening in Ukraine. And I just want to say, lest we not forget that there are atrocities and a war going on in Ethiopia, and that's not getting the same attention. Wow. So we've got to really look at what's happening worldwide. We've got to look at if we're taking in, refugees, we got to take them in from everywhere, so let's be clear on that. So Dawn, I want to segue into the caucus, the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. Tell us a little bit about that. What is that caucus? how does it happen? Who gets to go? Who attends? How many days did it last? If you would just share. Thank you.
Okay, Monday I took this whole week off, and I got a call Monday. I was coming from my doctor's appointment. I went into, what's that, Shake Shack. It was noisy, and my president of my Democratic club called, and he said, I know it's the NAN convention. I said yes, and then I got home and said maybe, but then I said I'm gonna go. I go each and every year. When I was big with District Council 37, Local 371, I stayed for the whole weekend, but my president, Charles Enzi, has transitioned. But how it worked this year, the caucus was from Friday to Sunday. So tonight, the gala is going on right now as we speak. My friends are actually in the gala. You know, I called one of my girlfriends from the union, but what we did, we took the bus from the Adam Clayton Powell Jr. State Office building. We left approximately 7:00 a.m. We got to Albany.
Okay.
The only little thing was that they were checking vaccinations, which I got vaccinated only because of work. I'm not agree with vaccinations, but my friend who went was not vaccinated. So he got a tag and he was able to enter. But then when we got to where the state troopers were, they would not allow him upstairs. So then once we got upstairs, they instructed him to take a rapid test, which he did.
Okay.
But by the time he got the results, what they ended up doing was a workshop in the office that Senator Cordell Clear and then Inez Dickens. I'm sorry, that is Senator Cordell Clear did the workshop, and Assemblywoman Inez Dickinson, she held the reception. Okay, so he wasn't able to get upstairs to that part because he didn't have his results in time. But the workshop had to do with eradicating human trafficking. It was hosted and moderated by Senator Cordell Clear, the chair of the Senate Standing Committee on Women's Issues.
I love it.
On this morning, the confirmed panelists were the Honorable Alvin Bragg, Manhattan County District Attorney, Assistant District Attorney Justin McDapney, Manhattan County District Attorney's Office, Pamela Damon, Executive Director, Not on My Watch, Dawn Rowe, Founder, Girl Vow, Melissa Santag Ubuda, JD, MPH, Co-Executive Director, SOAR Institute, Assembly Member Khalil M. Anderson, and it was in person and via Facebook Live. And what I could share was I graduated from Virginia State University in 1989, and one of my closest friends at that time went to Hampton University the same time. And you know the national case, Kemba Smith. She's from my aunt's hometown, that's in Rico County near Richmond, Virginia, the suburb. And she was dating a guy who I went to high school with, Peter Hall, who moved her into an apartment, bought her a luxury car. But when they came to pick him up, he wasn't there, and they arrested her, and she got 25 for life just for weed. Okay,
wow.
So she didn't serve the whole time. And then her correction officer happened to be one of my friends who we lived next door to each other in a townhouse at Virginia State. Because my girlfriend did not finish school, so she went straight into the working, and she worked in corrections, and she was her correction officer. Then her dad came to my church, Convent Avenue Baptist Church. And my pastor lifted an offering for the family. So basically, that's a case that I was kind of like intimately involved with. My understanding now, I believe she's working in a law firm. She's done her own book. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta, but she unfortunately was caught up in trafficking, and basically they were sharing the different cases that are going on now, which I'm not as aware of because, you know, working with National Action Network, you hear police brutality, gun violence, but you don't always hear this issue. So it was very interesting. And I didn't even know what the topic was going to be when I entered the room, but it was a very great informative forum. And then the second, and they spread a lunch. I mean, they had down home corn pudding, which I can't remember. I haven't had corn
wonderful.
My aunt transitioned, so it was just a spread of food. And then after we had the refreshments, there was another panel which was hosted by Community Voices Heard on women's issues. So it was a very informative afternoon. And then by that time, it was time for us to board the bus back to the city.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know what some of the other, I'm glad, and I know that, Senator Cordell Clear, who is our new senator, who actually will be up for re-election coming up in June, as she was specially appointed. But I know she has been chair of a lot of the women's issue committee. So that's great. And do you know what some of the other issues are? When they have this caucus, what is the object of the caucus? To discuss things or deal with timely issues? What comes out of that caucus? Are there decisions that are made? If you could share that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, normally how it works, you're in like a lecture room where they have a panelist, but this time we were in the conference room. So it's like we're sitting behind they're at like a table with their placards, and we're sitting at, some of us are sitting at the table, some are sitting around. It didn't get too crowded. It basically, the people in the room were from the bus. And then the Community Voices Heard brought in their own people. A lot of the folks were from sororities, Alpha Kappa Alpha. My late mom was a member, Delta Sigma Theta, and others. And they had an organization there called SOAR Institute. And basically they're pushing policies such as Senate Bill 2233, that's Godfrey, on the immunity law. And what I asked them, were there any legislation that our committee could be in support of, especially as it deals with the issue of trafficking? Because like I stated earlier, Cambridge Smith had come to National Action Network early on, but we basically haven't been discussing that topic because since it's so many other issues. But that's basically how the caucus works. It's usually large panels, all throughout the legislative office building. But today we were kind of concentrated in Senator Cordell Clear, because she's the person who hosted the bus along with Community Voices Heard. I've gone up with tenants and neighbors, and whenever I go with an organization, I like to go to whatever they're hosting. I don't want it to look like I'm just getting up there to go on a free bus.
Right,
and it's usually the issues that I also support with tenants and neighbors. It had to do with housing. And that was a really big, where it was standing room only, but we were in a big lecture hall. Now, something different that Cordell Clear did, she had bags that were, these are her, with her bags hosted by Emily.
I love it.
And she gave us, I left the lunch in the kitchen, but she gave us like breakfast on the bus. And she gave us these information folders. So at least it wasn't like you were going up there and you were just kind of just hanging. You were really going up there working. And, and whatever was discussed, I just hope that my committee can be supportive and supportive of, and we can kind of get some of the legislation passed by going up there. I remember that is something that Bill Perkins always would say. I never seen you up here, but he had seen me because I was always going up with District Council 37 for lobby day. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's beautiful. And certainly Harlem Network News looks to be there next year, doing some full coverage. We're working to really expand our base. We're hoping to work closely with the mayor's office to get the message out, as I know he's got an initiative for Black press that's in the making. So we're hoping to really be a part of that, because it's very critical. Everybody doesn't listen to CNN or even New York One in our communities, and a lot of times our stories are not told. So it's important that we tell our own story. Now, I know there's supposed to be something tomorrow. You said there's a gala tonight. I know a lot of folks are up there, but I believe there's something with Governor Hochul tomorrow at noon. Are you familiar?
Well, normally on Sundays, they do award ceremonies, and then the dinner would be on Sunday evening. So I'm not actually sure what is going to be this year on Sunday. I would have to double check with
Okay. Well, thank you. I know I spoke with Derek Perkison, of NAN, and he told me, hey, I got to go tomorrow at noon,
Good for him.
to meet
Okay.
with Governor Hope.
Yes.
So
No, so I would bring
he's going
him
to follow
on.
up.
Yes.
He'll be on. He'll be on Tuesday about
Yes.
7:30. He'll share. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us, Dawn. So efficient, so alert and bright-eyed after your big day and your big week. Do you have any closing words or closing statements, just between the NAN convention and also, going to the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, and just in general, reflections for our community and what really needs to be done and how folks can get involved? Thank you.
Yes, well, what I will say in conclusion is that it was worth me taking the week off, to go to attend both of these events. It was a very productive week. And on tomorrow for me, I will be going to the Riverside Church to try to we're trying to book a place so we can celebrate the New Amsterdam Musical Association Centennial. This is an organization that's been in the Harlem community for over 100 years. They own their own building and they're celebrating being here in Harlem for 100 years, which I feel is a big deal since so many people are losing their places and they've been able to sustain and stay here and keep the arts alive. So that for me, that's what I would be doing on tomorrow. And then I'll be back at my day job during the week. And on next Saturday, I will be right back at the House of Justice, 9:00 a.m. for the Saturday Action Rally, 9 to 11, WLIB 1190 a.m., Impact Television. And also, as far as the political front, our Frederick E. Samuel Community Democratic Club, we met in person on last Thursday for the first time since COVID, but we're gonna do only monthly meetings because Nancy Pelosi and others are still getting COVID fully vaccinated. So we're not gonna go back to our weekly meetings yet, but we're gonna meet again on May 26th, 2021. And some of the legislation that I discussed today will be discussed either at our fourth Saturday National Action Network Political Action Committee or at our monthly Democratic Club meetings here in the village of Harlem. So, either committee, we're looking to be supportive of any positive legislation that impacts our people.
Okay. Well, I thank you very, very much, Dawn Jones, for joining us. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And you will join us as you do every Sunday at 4:00. It takes a village. We do specials, and often what we air at 4, we usually re-air it at 7:30. But tomorrow we will be on, well, this is pre-recorded, but Sunday, April 10th, and we will be on both YouTube and Facebook at 4:00. So we're very grateful that you came and shared with us. We want to wish everyone a happy Ramadan, and we want to wish everyone a happy Palm Sunday.
Thank you. Amen.
And in the spirit, and our prayers are up for all of our ancestors and all of our community, and we must stand together. That's what can be said. And we're on the move. And this is Harlem Network News. Certainly, you can donate to Harlem Network News by going to harlemnetworknews.com. You can also, if you have things that are happening in the community, please share with us, or in-kind services where you would like to write something, or something happened and you videoed, please send it in to us. Very, very, very critical that we tell our own stories. So have a wonderful day, Dawn. Keep on keeping on. You're one of our heroes, and definitely we salute you. And for all the work you do in this community. It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much. And take care, Harlem. Take care. Stand firm. Harlem Network News. Thank you.